Okay, you are live. So if you'd like to get started, Alfonso, I think you are
Okay,
going.
I'm gonna share my screen first. And can you see my screen?
Yes. What? There we go. Yep.
Um, just a second.
Not now. It was up for a second ago.
Yes. Okay. Well, thank you all for being with us today. This is a happy occasion for our LFDT Mentorship 2025. This is the conclusion of 6 months of work, very productive and very um, enthusiastic. Okay. We're going to talk about connections with online learning platforms. This is our third virtual meetup. And the mentees this year were Ankita Maurya, who's not with us because she has a final exam right now. Abiral Sapra, Hariom Dat, Harsh Parihar, who would be also presenting with me, and Vaibhav Mittal, who unfortunately is not with us for a very sad family event. And even though he's not with us, we are all with him in our thoughts. And the mentors have been Noemi, Harsh, Raju, and myself. We're going to be talking about the context of learning tokens and the SDK, which is the result of this presentation, of this mentorship. Okay. What happened with skills in the age of artificial intelligence? Traditionally, we humans, learned, practiced, and passed on skills. Now, skills are being mapped, modeled, and mirrored by machines. The skills that used to be once tacit, embodied, and human are becoming now digital, explicit, and shared. When skills can be stored, copied, and recombined by AI, what remains essentially human? What is the architecture underlying our ability to learn, adapt, and create? Can we design a world where this architecture serves growth and meaning, not just automation and measurement? A world where humans and AI complement our own capabilities and our own shortcomings. We have to go to learning for that purpose. Learning in the age of artificial intelligence. We could think of skills as the proteins of talent, and understanding how they combine is key to decoding human and AI capability, enabling thus the flow of information between education and employment. Educations evolved from oral traditions in the past to apprenticeships in medieval guilds, from workshops, schools, and universities to digital platforms and resources. But through time, 5 functions sustain education and remain sustaining: teaching, learning, assessing, proving, and certifying. These functions interweave through paths of learning where the route is as important as the destination. For humans and non-humans, education is a lifelong journey. paths of teaching, learning, assessing, proving, and certifying become indispensable for human and artificial intelligence. How do we track our location along this journey or this path? Well, we track our location with assessments. Assessments can be summative or formative. Summative at the end of a course, track the educational program and the learning of the participants. Formative through the learning process, monitor progress to improve teaching methods and to enhance students' educational experiences. Along these paths and these assessments, the challenge of determining which actions, among a long sequence of steps, which actions were responsible for a particular outcome or reward, is what Marvin Minsky, in 1961, at the dawn of AI, named the credit assignment problem. And the credit assignment problem still remains relevant both for humans and non-humans. With digital credentials, we can certify summative assessments. With learning tokens, we can certify formative assessments by registering granular achievements in the process. Learning tokens are a lifelong, verifiable proof of competence that certifies granular, event-driven learning interactions across educational and professional workflows. We have been a joint project of Linux Foundation Decentralized Trust and Global Blockchain Business Council, adopting the token taxonomy framework of the Interwork Alliance as a meta model for digital assets that represent the transmission of knowledge and skills. 4 learning tokens attest measurement of learning: the assistant to lessons, the score of responses to tests and tasks, the engagement in a class or a collective learning experience, and the feedback learners give for instructors' performance. Learning tokens can be held in skill wallets, where learners can hold, lifelong profiles of proficiency and competence. What is the life cycle of learning tokens? Well, basically, we have institutions that issue the tokens, learners that hold them in skill wallets, employers that verify the proofs of competence, a governance framework of those 3 stakeholders I just presented, and a marketplace. Institutions are any learning environment. Could be physical, could be online, could be mobile, anything that provides education, structure, training, or self-learning opportunities. Institutions are the source of trust for the learning tokens they issue. Learners, which we all are passionate about new things and concepts. We want to understand, acquire, and apply knowledge. And our claim to this ultimate skill of lifelong success is learning tokens. Employers navigate a market of skill-first credentials, and they need a simple validation process to match competencies for tasks in order to hire employers, to begin entrepreneurial partnerships, or to detect investment opportunities. Altogether, we need a framework for strategic guidance, oversight, and accountability. And tokens can be redeemed for benefit at specific marketplaces. What's the architecture of learning tokens? We have, again, as we saw it in the life cycle, we have education, which is the institution and the learners, and the learning experience. And the learning experience happens in a digital platform. Then we have learning tokens, which give the proof of competence. But the interaction between these three parts, education, digital platforms, and learning tokens, happen within an overall framework of knowledge and skills. And it is at this overall framework that AI is of particular relevance. What is the flow? Well, an instructor creates within her or his institution a learning experience. And he creates the content, the assessment, and the scoring guide, which is a guide for everyone, like a nutritional table that tells what you learn, how many tokens you get. The student, the learner, interacts through the digital platform in this experience and gets results. As Harsh is going to explain in the second part of this conversation, it is not easy for instructors to interact with the digital platform, which in the case of structured learning is called LMS, which is a learning management system. So what we have provided is we have connectors in learning tokens that create pieces of code that solve the issue of easily fetching data from the LMS. And that data is kept in the server of the institution. The keys are held by the instructor and the institution. The privacy and security of the data is in the institution. But once those connectors transmitted via what is called an SDK, once that SDK is at the server of the institution, it does automatically for them the fetching of data that we in learning tokens need for two things: to create and transfer tokens to skill wallets that learners have, and also to create a registry of trust. This is the overall flow of the architecture of learning tokens. And we have education, digital platforms, learning tokens, and an AI-supported reference framework of knowledge and skills. The SDK has been the main work of the past 6 months of our 5 mentees. And Harsh is going to explain that for us in the next SDK slide. Harsh, you have the microphone.
Yeah, thank you, Alfonso. Now, hello everyone. Now I'm going to explain and demonstrate how the SDK in our ecosystem works. I'll share the screen. Is it visible to everyone? Yeah, hello. Uh, I guess you are muted. Uh, yeah, you
Yeah,
can
Harsh, it's
move to
visible.
okay, okay. Yeah, Alfonso, you can move to next slide.
Can you see it?
Yeah,
Okay,
next.
good.
Okay, so first of all, why we need the LMS connector? Why do we need the SDK? So as Alfonso already said that we are working currently with the EDX, Canvas, Moodle, and Google Classroom, and there are a bunch of other LMS learning management systems. But what differs them is the APIs and the data structures they have. And for an instructor, which is a non-technical instructor, it gets very difficult to actually interact with those type of data structures and those LMS. So we bring here the SDK, LT SDK, a learning tokens software development kit, which actually comes in the middle of the LMS, these all the LMSs, and then learning tokens. It becomes a bridge between LMS and the learning tokens. So next slide. Okay. So now I'm going to explain how the SDK architecture works. As you can see here, there are in the SDK, basically there are few core modules like connector and adapter, and then there is a separate proxy servers for these LMSs through which we interact, the SDK interacts. The two main things, we have the dashboard for interface for the instructor, and then learning tokens dashboard. From start, what happens is once the instructor installs and runs the SDK, he will enter in the interface and he will authenticate with the particular LMS. Once authentication is done, the instructor will send the request to fetch the LMS courses and learners data. This request will be done by the SDK server, and the SDK server sends this request to API and proxy servers of the LMS. These LMS respond and give the raw data of the courses and learners to the SDK server. And this raw data comes to the connector in the core modules. This connector is having all the raw data from all LMS now. But the problem here is these raw data are like unstructured data. So here we have to neutralize this data, and the connector sends this neutralization for neutralization to the adapter. The adapter's work is to do the normalization of the data and send the normalized data to the SDK server and the client of the SDK, which renders the data on the interface of the instructor. And from there, instructor could actually get the opportunity to see all the LMS data, which is normalized in one fashion, and verify all the credentials, all the educational data. And after the verification, he will get the page where he will confirm with the knowledge of fields. He will have to input the knowledge of fields. There are three ways. The knowledge of fields can be predefined, or it can be defined by the instructor, or an AI assistant at learning tokens can help him to define that. After the confirmation, instructor will get the option to assign the token and to go to the learning tokens and assign the token to the learners. This is the whole flow, how it works. Next slide. Okay. So now we have an example of Canvas LMS. Let's say this is the SDK pipeline only, but with the Canvas LMS. So here you see the front end, and from the front end of the SDK, the instructor clicks the manage, and the SDK client sends the request to the SDK server, which sends the request to Canvas APIs. So Canvas APIs gives the raw data to the SDK, which is connector, and then connector sends this data, which is raw data, to adapter and normalizes the data of the Canvas like courses and learners. Then this data comes to the SDK client, which renders this on the front end. So this is the whole flow. Next slide. Okay. So here is the code for the SDK. So this is the learning tokens GitHub repository. where we have pushed the whole SDK code, and you can also get the learning tokens backend and front end code there. So there are some key features that I explained already. So we have the multi LMS platform support, Google Classroom, Moodle, EDX, Canvas, and we have the authentication server. For each LMS, we have one unified authentication server, so you can interact like all MS with one authentication. And then we have CLI tool, which actually directs the instructor to the front end after the installation. We have modern front end for the ease of instructor to navigate uh, uh, the data that we are getting from the LMS. Then we have the normalization layer, and at last we do the packaging of everything and send this package to the npm package. And the lastly, we have the acknowledgement. So I would like to actually thanks to all my fellow mentees, Aviral, Ankita, Hariom, and Vaibhav, who have worked on the contribution of the LMS APIs. They have worked on the APIs of the LMS. They have gathered all the data and make that APIs available for the SDK to be ready. So thank you for them. And again, I would like to thank for all the mentors that we have. Uh, Alfonso, Neo, which is Harsh, Harsh Jain mentor. And then we have Naomi. So I would like to thank for their guidance and support throughout the mentorship. So yeah. And then next slide. Okay, so as I told you, we have the code on the npm package. We have published this npm package, which is the SDK. So we have the some requirements for this. You can install and run this on your system. The instructor should have to install this and run on his system. Before that, there are some requirements that he should follow. And then we have the installation and running commands and some resources like GitHub of the learning tokens, which you can visit, and some other materials. So, and this particular NPM package, learning tokens, everything comes under the Linux Foundation LFDT Trust. And we have some keywords. Now I will walk you through this npm package after the explanation. Next slide. Okay, this is the important part. This is the data availability matrix for all the LMS that we are working with this time. So we have the course data, actually ID, name, start date, finish date, some of the other metadata, of course, and we have the learners data, which is very important, the assessment details and their metadata. The instructor data we are actually not fetching, and we don't have to fetch because this is for the instructor, and instructor is only going to use the SDK. So we are not doing that. And then the transcript and chat data are for the future future work. So yeah. Okay, next slide. Okay, so now we have the demo, the part you all are waiting for. So I'll give the demo of the SDK and how the SDK becomes a bridge between the LMS, all LMS that we have, and the learning tokens. I'll share the slide. Sorry. Can you see the browser?
Yes.
Can anyone? Okay. Okay, great. So here you can see like this is the node modules package website where we have published the SDK. I have already shown you. So first of all, what is the package? So it's just a ready-made piece of software that anyone can use in their project or for their purpose as a plugin or a tool to save their time and effort. So that's what we have done. We have made the SDK to ease the effort and time that is required in the educational system, and that is given by the institutions and instructors. So in the requirements, these are the requirements that you should have firstly, and this is a simple LT SDK access key. These are the demo keys that you should have. The important thing here is that once you install and run this SDK, everything will happen on the institutions or instructors system. There will be nothing, no credentials and no interaction with the credential will be involved between the learning tokens server or system to the institutions or instructor system. So this will be the all centralized on the institution and instructor system. I will start with the installation of the learn SDK. This is the command. We'll copy this. We'll come here, we'll paste this in the terminal and enter. This will take time and this will install all the SDK files. After the installation, we have the start command. We'll copy this thing and then we'll paste here, enter. Okay, you can see here learning tokens SDK, LMS connector. These are the some things. It will redirect you on the interface of the learning token. So you will see this. So this is the interface that you will see once the CLI redirects you. So now you have to connect the LMS that instructor is working on with. He will have to connect that. As I told you, it will ask you LT SDK access key. So you can get that on the NPM page only. So you can see the as Stanford University, and you can copy this dummy access key and select here Stanford. You can paste this, continue. Okay, now here you see you will get the full option for the LMS. We have the EDX, Canvas, Moodle, Google Classroom. So instructor could use any of this, whichever he or she is working with. I'll choose EDX. I'll move forward with the EDX, continue with the EDX. Now we have to authorize the EDX. So this is the important part. After the authorization, he will get the EDX dashboard where he will see all the courses and data. So for this authorization, one should have the client ID and the client secret of the EDX. I will paste those here. So this is something how the client ID will be there, and this will be your client secret. Now, this is some information that you have to take care of while doing the authentication. After this, we will connect EDX. The OAuth will happen. It will redirect you to the EDX portal, and it will tell you to sign in with the credentials. So once you log in, it will ask you to authorize the learning tokens SDK. You allow it. Once you allow, the authorization will be completed, and it will tell you learning tokens has been configured successfully, and close the tab. Once you close the tab, you will see you are in the EDX dashboard. And now here you can see the courses, manage courses option, where you will see the courses of the EDX and the part where I explained the data availability matrix. You can refer this to see what are the details that you are gonna get on the EDX courses. We'll opt for this. Now we are coming to the courses page. Here you can see there is one course for the EDX, Introduction to Computer Science. This is coming. Whatever the multiple course you have on the LMS, that will be fetched here, and you can see everything. You can manage. Now here you will see the more detailed information about the course and learner. So it is divided into course information, instructor, student, assignment, review, and assign token. So here first, course information, basic metadata, course description, course ID, and all. So this is very visually appearing, because to interact the instructor, it should be nice. After this, you will be here. So as I told you, we are not fetching anything for the instructor, because this is what the instructor is doing. So yeah. The next, we have the student data. These are the students that has enrolled in the particular course, Introduction to Computer Science, and their data we get. After this, the most important part of this like LMS system, that will be assessment. So these are the particular students, learners who have opted these particular homeworks or assessments, and their marks. So you will get in such kind. After this, you will move to the page where you will have to review and confirm everything at once. So whatever the data we have seen earlier, it will come here at once, and you will have to see verify once. After the verification, you get this particular field where you will have to give the knowledge proof. So these are the field of knowledge you have to explain. So let's say I'm entering here computer science, and these are the completion details. So learners have completed this particular assessment, so we'll leave that. Once after this, you will have to confirm that these data are correct, and you will be proceeding to the assigning learning tokens. So we have this particular page here. From here, you will be going to the learning dashboard, learning tokens dashboard, where you will opt and assign the learning tokens to the learners. Once you click this button, you will be asked to log in to authorize and authorize the learning tokens. So you will have to enter the credentials of the learning tokens dashboard, the instructor. So it will verify and it will redirect to the learning tokens dashboard. It will take some time. Okay. So we are on the learning tokens dashboard. Here, like you have to authorize once again, because this is the security system of the learning tokens it is asking. As an instructor. Okay, you are logging into the dashboard. Now you come to the events and you see the list. So you will see the event has been triggered. Once you click that assign learning tokens button, the event has got generated here on the dashboard. You will see the event ID as the course ID and the course details, some of the metadata. So now here you will move to assigning tokens. Before that, there will be some things like scoring guide, which you will have to validate once. So now here you will get the opportunity to distribute the tokens. So whatever tokens you want to distribute. So attendance token, let's say I'll give 8, I'll give 6. So before this, I would explain this particular data, what we are getting from the LMS. For that, we have this particular smart contract that will be going on chain with these particular data. So this will be immutable, and this will create a ledger. So ledger of the all credentials. So this particular student has this particular score, and this much. So based on this, you are giving the learning tokens. You are assigning the learning achievement tokens. We'll give it one. Now we'll add the scoring guide. After adding scoring guide, there will be message pop-up appear here that will tell the scoring guide added successfully. It will take some time. Okay, the scoring guide created successfully. Course has been automatically created on chain. Now you will move to the review wallets where you will see the instructor wallet and the learner's wallet. So you move to the distribute tokens. Here you will have the score token. So we are actually uh, granting the score token to the learner for their scores and marks. So I'll distribute it. I'll click on the distribute and the distribution will be complete. So it will give the pop-up to so that the grant of the learning tokens has been distributed successfully. Okay, great. So now you can any learner can log out. I mean, learner can log in their dashboard on the learning tokens and verify if they have got the learning tokens or not. So we have logged in. Now you will see here what token has been generated. Learning tokens will be granted here to the learner. It will take some time. So yeah, you see here, this is the particular timing, the timestamp and the field of knowledge, what the learning tokens he has got. So this is particular, okay. So from here, the SDK demonstration and learning tokens integration is completed. Uh, these data are going on chain on the Kalido blockchain. You can see here few seconds ago we made the transaction, so it is being added here. So yeah, okay. Thank you for watching. Now I'll give the mic to Alfonso for moving forward.
Can you see my screen?
Yeah, we can see.
Thank you very much, Harsh, for presenting this, the result of the 5 members of your team. It showed the flow of connecting to an LMS and connecting to learning tokens. So skills are the proteins of talent. And the genome of talent is the universe of knowledge and skills. Learning tokens provide proof of skill acquisition. But this proof comes with a standard description of competencies. And that is the key of what we are providing and proposing. That's the key to understand human and artificial capabilities. Where have we been? Where are we? And where we want to go? Okay, all of this work has been possible because of LFDT, Linux Foundation Decentralized Trust Mentorship. In the first phase, we created the concept and built up alliances. The first important alliance was with GBBC, with the Global Blockchain Business Council. And what we did with them is to create the artifacts, the formulas, and the descriptions of the tokens as they are held in the TTF repository. Also, we had a proof of concept. After that phase, we dedicated some time to build the infrastructure. And the infrastructure was basically connectors. We did last year connectors for Zoom and also with AI for YouTube. And in terms of alliances, we participated at MIT Solve, and we began as members, we still are, of MIT Digital Credential Consortium and the Credential Engine. This year, as we have shown, we've worked the SDKs for the 4 main LMS. And the alliances have evolved now with UC at Berkeley, which help us do a study for the go-to-market strategy of learning tokens. And together with UCA, which is the University of Central America in El Salvador, we have proposed a project to Stanford's Human Artificial Intelligence and Google DeepMind. And we are going to do now a project of learning tokens for the Department of IT. Here's where we are now. What follows? What follows is to work with AI for understanding and navigating the skill genome. For that, we want to develop some agentic AI. And with the support of the study of Berkeley, now we can offer learning tokens as a service. What does it mean, the AI part? Well, this standard description of skills is basically for 3 things: for teaching, for learning, and for applying skills. So these 3 fields can be supported with 8 basic modules that we would start working. We already work with a module for the context in Zoom and YouTube, and found a way with AI, not only to create assessments, but to find out the skills and knowledge according to some standards categories that exist already. For the teaching, we can support using learning tokens to improve learning environments and creating a learning tutor. There are many of these modules already in the market of AI. We would use what is available, but we would add something else that those existing modules lack: the standardized description of skills. That's why we can understand the genome. That's why we can understand the combination of skills as proteins with the tiny units of tokens that register the granular acquisition of skills. For the learners, we can also help build their own memory of acquisition. We can provide, together with market, a job coach, a manager of skill profile. And for the market, we can provide a link through the common description of tasks and skills with universities and with learners. So that's what's coming next. We're very enthusiastic about it, and you're invited to join. Thank you very much. We can go now to Q&A. Okay,
Yes.
I'll stop sharing.
Yeah, I'll request everyone, if you have any question, please ask. Related to demonstration, related to learning tokens, anything.
There's one question of Daniel Mante. He says, is there an option for providing time-limited learning tokens? For example, he says, many professional credentials expire unless continuing education credits are earned by the accredited professional. How does the Learning Tokens SDK handle this common use case? Great question.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
So
I'm going to answer. Credentials, remember we talked about two kinds of assessments. Assessments that are summative and performative. So credentials are summative examples. They quantify and qualify completion of courses. And that's why some of them are linked to continuing education credits. Because what I learned at MIT long time ago, I'm an old dinosaur. What I learned at MIT taught me something, but many of the day-to-day intricacies of coding are beyond what was known at that time. So it makes sense to have credentials expiring like tomatoes in my fridge. Okay. Now, the difference with learning tokens is that they are proofs of what you learn. And what you learn, this is the important thing, doesn't expire. The field of knowledge and the field of skills might evolve beyond what the field was when I learned something at MIT. But my learning at that time never expires. So what learning tokens is giving you is a timestamp of a knowledge and a skill. So rather than providing time-limited options, we're providing time-stamped knowledge and proofs of knowledge and skill acquisition. So it is up to whomever wants to qualify your lifelong profiles to decide if what I learned computer science in the 70s of the past century, what is still relevant or not? So that's why we don't provide time limited. We provide time stamped proofs of knowledge through time.
yes, just to add, these are the proofs that will be on the on-chain blockchain, and this will be immutable. So these tokens are immutable. This will be everlasting till the blockchain exists, and anyone can verify that you have learned this particular knowledge in that particular timestamp. So yeah, this is how the learning tokens handles.
And the other thing that's interesting, and that's something we are beginning to explore with AI, is that once the standardized description of the metadata of skills and knowledge, once that is registered, okay, as Harsh says in the ledger, but the importance is not the ledger per se, but the issue of registry. Once it's registered, and once we understand that knowledge and skills are like a genome that are connected among themselves. So you could see for your own as a learner, or your own as a professor, or for your own as an employer, what tasks can be solved without those skills? Or once you have the skills, what other skills you might. Okay, so there's a path that opens with this humble accounting technology that we're providing. Rash has your hand is
Yeah,
up.
I mean, I actually liked what Hirsch said. The moment he brought in a ledger, it made so much more sense. So, Daniel, credential is an evaluation of everything, whereas the learning token itself, it can be seen as a transcript. A transcript never gets obsolete because it persists, whereas the credentials need to be evaluated, summarized, collapsed together, and exist. So, like
Yes.
Alfonso, being an old professor, and my iteration is going back to the old computer sciences. Many of them are still relevant. We may not have the technical basis, but things like the language theory, the compilers, I mean, even the structured programming languages, it is wonderful to see the young people like Hirsch navigate on the screen and the laptops and the keyboards. But for us old people, we can at least follow along and understand what they're doing. And thank you. Wonderful job. Alfonso, Hirsch, everybody.
I
Thank you.
appreciate your comments, Rash, and let me add to it. What we're doing with the transcripts, which you are correct, is we're giving the ownership of the transcripts to the students. The skill wallets allows the students to have in their skill wallets their transcripts to share with whomever they want in the conditions that they want, which is different from the transcripts in the university. It's not easy for me to get a transcript from MIT. Okay, so we're providing ownership of the transcript. You're correct with the transcript. We add ownership for the learner. And let me give you an anecdote, if you allow me. My first exercise at MIT, when I got there, was to program in binary. And once you go through programming with zeros and ones, the moment you're introduced into assembly language, you love it. You love it because you see the benefit of it. So now if I ask Harsh or any of the mentees to do it in assembly language, they would give me such a look. Okay. And they are right. And they are right. So, we say in the Spanish, more knows the evil because of age than because of wisdom. Thank you for your comments.
Yeah, anyone else? Anyone else have any question, please?
Mihin saying, great talk, thank you. Can non-educational institutes use learning tokens within their own work organization? Also, regarding your last answer, doesn't learning rates change over time? And is there a degradation function for that knowledge? It might be interesting to see how this varies between individuals and inter-organizations. Three great questions and comments. Thank you for considering a useful talk. Yes, this is open to any learning environment. Could be educational, but also could be corporate training. Or eventually it can be what we all do every day, that we do self-learning. Now we go to sites and internet, we read papers, we read news, tokens can be applied to anything and can be gamified also. Now, regarding the expiration time, yes, the learning rate changes over time. The transcripts don't. Okay. So the path, once you talk about paths, you get into the interesting region of vectors, if you want to go into semantic databases of AI. But vectors are basically directions and velocity. Okay. So you could see, as this is time-stamped, you can measure the velocity of learning. If you look at my skill wallet and you look at my paths, you can see when was I learning more and faster, and where I'm learning less and slower. Okay. Yes, path, velocity, direction of vectors can be done with this simple granular measuring tool. Is there a degradation function? Yes, of course. Once you get into the motion of the learning experience, but you might go to the motion of the planets, and you might find and discover calculus and the derivatives of those vectors. And so there's a lot of things you can do once you start measuring and accounting of learning. Once you have that, Then you can see your last question, how this varies between individuals and their organizations. You say, is this open to everyone and how is it implemented? Yes, it's open source. That's what Linux is about. Okay. Is there an option to create a contract that, let me continue. If we want to introduce learning tokens as a replacement of traditional tests, it's not a replacement method. It is a complement. Instructors or trainers or whomever creates content in the internet keep the control of the learning. We don't define content. We don't define assessments. We simply account for the results that the content creators do. So we don't replace, we're just humble accountants. Okay. Daniel is asking, is there an option to create a contract that can be stored on the blockchain that could encode the requirements for professional certification? Yes, but I wouldn't add that as, it could be a smart contract, okay, additional to the ledger that we're creating. But it could also be an agent of AI, okay, that basically knows when to match descriptions of tasks with list of skills for professional certification. In fact, that's why I always like to say learning tokens is not against digital certificates. It's a complement. It's exactly as Vash said before, transcripts and degrees. Okay, they're not one or the other, they're both and together. One is the support for the proof of the other. One is a performance assessment, the other one is a summatory assessment. So yes, you could create a contract and you're welcome to do it. So that's what open source is all about. You're welcome to join our lab, Learning Tokens Lab, and you're welcome to work with that either as a smart contract or as an agent of AI. And your example is correct. You can assign a valid pass date and number of credits. We are at the top of the hour. I'm very thankful for all your comments and the dialogue.
Yeah. Before dropping, I'd like, I mean, we would like all of you to see your repository, GitHub repository, learning tokens, and see the documentation, see the NPM package that we have published. Try to use that on your system, try to see how it works. And please do that. And it will be this is what we are building for the educational system, overall digital educational environment. So to ease things. So yeah, this is for you. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Harsh. And thank you all for being with us. Have the best of everything. Have a great week. And we wait for your comments, at our lab and our repo. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Goodbye.